Hello, everybody. Dan Tomaszewski here with Everything MSP. Hope you're all doing well. I am here with my good friend, Henry Washburn from our friends at Huntress. How are you doing there, Henry?
I'm doing well, enjoying the day. Glad to talk
Yeah,
to you as well.
yeah, it's good talking with you too. It's always fun to learn stuff from you because you guys do some just really awesome things. I mean, it's almost like you guys, go to work and it's like kind of playtime because it's fun for you, right?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like it's kind of how can we screw up bad actors today? Like that's kind of the
Right.
mentality we have. Like, oh, we'll dig into your stuff and see how we can affect you. You know,
Exactly.
it
How,
might not
how
be always the mandate, but it's definitely fun when we have the time to be able to do it. That's for sure.
Exactly. So it's kind of like how can I make a bad actor's day bad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Two negatives actually equal, a positive, and that's how that works.
that's awesome. So when you take a look at the whole world of being an MSP and what's happening out there in the SMB market, what's happening? What's new that's bubbling up and keeping you guys busy?
Well, there's a lot of different things that are always keeping us busy, but one of the things that happened kind of like in the last quarter or so, I want to say mid-November, end of November is when we really started seeing a pickup of this. Is a malware called CACBot. That's QAKBOT.
Okay.
CACBot, or sometimes mistakenly referred to as QuackBot. I know it's very easy to make that mistake, but it is CACBot. It's actually a banking Trojan that's used to steal credentials and keystrokes and lots of things to be able to do to record and for bad actors to then take and sell on the dark web, things like that. But it's also very, I think a good word is pernicious. It is very invasive and hard to remove. And we obviously at Huntress when partners had Huntress installed, we would send reports and yes, okay, we see indicators of CACBot. Here's how to remediate. But in the last 2 months or so, we saw a 400% increase
Ooh,
in incident reports, and
okay.
so that's a pretty large increase.
That's
And
big.
what we think was it was weaponized, or they weaponized certain 0-day vulnerabilities that had been patched now by that point, and people just hadn't necessarily patched those
Mm,
servers that might have been accessed. That's what we think. We can't verify that, but it feels like that. We heard some talk early, but yeah, that was a huge increase, and it is thinking about how an MSP and end user works. Like when there's CACBot is not necessarily easy to find, but something like Huntress, we find it all the time with persistence monitoring. But the problem really lies in the remediation, which is also something in our incident reports. It's a claim to fame. We
right.
provide actionable insights to then remediate. CACBot is so frustrating for us to remediate because if you don't do it just right, it'll just reinstall itself
Okay.
and reinfect all the machines that you just tried cleaning, and you're probably not having a very good day.
Then you're
Uh,
starting all over again. Yeah.
right, exactly. You're trying to if you're rolling back to older versions or trying to just clean up, like it's really annoying and really frustrating. And so we decided to like it was also really frustrating for our threat operations team. Works 24/7 sending these reports, and they just keep pressing a button, sending it. You found it. We found it. Found it. Found
Right.
it. And so for operationalization, we decided like let's spin up a team and figure out can we do something better. And we actually took the time to dig in through the code base that is used with CACBot and is used the world over and really not change that much to find a way to actually prevent it from being installed. And I think that was it's been a huge win for us because we've seen a precipitous drop in the amount of CACBot
Awesome.
infections that we've seen. So
I mean, that's the thing though, is there's new things coming out every day, every hour, every minute, right? There's always something
yep,
new. And I mean, as an MSP, there are only so many hours in the day. You've got number one, dealing with fires, just that reactionary type work.
Hmm.
And of course, what we are really here for as MSPs is that proactive work and all the preventative things to help, mitigate the issues that are out there. But again, there's only so many hours in the day. So, you know, I guess there's that, but also, the talent within the MSP might not be there to be able to tackle this. And I guess that's where you guys come into play. Because you guys are identifying these, right? And then, you're working to help remediate it, but most importantly, getting to a point where you can prevent it. And that's a process. So
Yeah,
how does
definitely.
that work for you guys?
So usually, I mean, what I will say is, so Huntress is we have managed EDR, and so it's endpoint detection and response. So technically, like we're after initial access, and so if because we got so frustrated with CACBot, we decided to prevent. But obviously that's not necessarily always the case. But I think we have such a I honestly kind of pinch myself working at a company like this because we have such a crew that is devoted to making sure we just we prevent bad actors from doing their job, because
Right,
that's ultimately what they're trying to do. They're trying to steal data, ransom people, whatever. But if we can prevent that, that's a win in my book. It's a win in our book. And helping MSPs be able to see those incident reports and take action to do that work, and also
right.
be able to learn a little bit from those incident reports as well, I think is key too. One of the things that when you're running fires and doing fires and things like that, that doesn't, I don't know if necessarily there's a good time to be able to question a little bit. Because one of those things with CACBot is where we're able to prevent it, that's good. But the root problem, though, is that somebody still got into the environment.
Okay. Yep.
And I think that is something that is overlooked when there is an incident report. We try to call attention to it as much as possible and say, like, hey, this is somebody was inside here and did some things. Here's how to
Right.
remediate, but take it a step further, and it's how to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, in IT, sometimes there are things that there are issues that are happening in a client environment, and you resolve it. Sometimes you may not know exactly, unfortunately, you don't know what you did to fix it, but it works. But those
Duct
are
tape maneuver or something like that.
yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
I looked this way and something happened.
Yeah, you did the hokey pokey, turned yourself
Yeah,
around, and then
right, exactly.
things are working. But in a lot of those cases, they're very benign. So hey, sure, you might have fixed it, things are working. You don't know why, but then you just like it doesn't matter. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to question it.
There's
Um,
another fire to attack. Like,
right.
that
But
happens.
that's not the case when we're talking about security. I'm talking about things that are again benign and it doesn't matter. Um, but when we're talking about something like Hackbot, I mean if it gets in, great if you remove it. But what you're saying is, but why did it occur in the first place? You can't just move on. You need to know how it got there.
Right, right, exactly. And I wonder if that question needs to be more pervasive inside the MSP communities. Like, how did this environment
Right.
get accessed? We try to call attention to open ports where we can, or there could be, let's say, what very often happens when there's it seemed what we think it with CACBot, this fairly recent uptick, was a result of weaponizing and using the log4j vulnerability that wasn't patched for customers,
Okay.
for users that didn't have it patched, which is right inside that MSP purview,
Right.
and very value based, where, like, you have an RMM, you maintain patching, you maintain security rollups, things like that. All that basic stuff, like 9 times out of 10 of the stuff that we see that's really bad, probably would have solved it if it was adhered to.
Right. Yeah. And
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, that, and things like MFA, on all users as well as service users as well, like the backup
Right.
admins and things like that, like all the weird ones that don't really ever get used except for one or two things. Lots of, and that goes in line with like, NIST CSF and making sure everything's the way it should be.
Yeah.
A lot of that
And I'd like to say, in those cases, the more we put various policies or procedures in place, and the more we lock things down, it can cause frustration. I
True.
ultimately, just to be blunt, I mean, the easier everybody wants it to be easy, right? I want to be able to I want to walk up to my computer. I don't want to have to log in. I don't want to have to deal with MFA. I don't want to have to deal with this, but we have to. So it's the world we live in. And, the easier we make it for ourselves, the easier we're making it for those bad actors. And, so it can be brutal, but, so we're glad that, we have an organization like Huntress that has a team of people with this passion for trying to solve these huge problems, and just dedicating the time, to identify new things that are happening out there. But then also, going down the path of remediating those. But then even further, just that whole preventative aspect. And yeah, so that's we're grateful for the work that you guys do, because we can't do it alone.
Right. We
There's,
can't do it
again,
alone either. We have like so many. Twitter is a great threat feed, and there are so many other threat feeds out there that, like, the cybersecurity community all tries to move forward everybody, and
yeah,
that's one thing that's pretty cool. Jumping into um this group that makes it just so
that's
interesting
awesome.
and fun. So
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I want to thank you for your time, and also just mention that if you are looking to add your security stack to be able to better protect your clients, especially as the world we're living in, the bad actors are getting more sophisticated. As they become more sophisticated, we need to become more sophisticated as MSPs to protect our clients. Reach out to Huntress to be able to learn more about them, and they also do have their neighborhood watch, which is a also called like an NFR program, which I think is great for what you guys are doing. And any parting words for me, Henry?
yeah, I mean, neighborhood watch is great. It's kind of protecting your house, before
Yeah,
getting out into the world and whatnot. If you want to read up a little bit more about the CACbot work that we were doing, you can also go to our blog too, and also sign up for that, because we also do. That's where threat advisories come through and all sorts of different good bits of information. So very
that's
very cool in
awesome.
there. Yeah.
Very good. Well, Henry, it's always awesome talking to you, learning new stuff, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.